Welcome to Disney A, the Canadian-themed Disney travel podcast.
That was very dramatic.
Yes, very dramatic.
It was.
And we're your hosts. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Krysta.
Hi, Krysta.
Hi, Brandon. I really like when you do, like, actions because no one can see you but me.
Yeah, no. Well,
and the dog.
I don't know. Have you ever seen a behind-the-scenes thing of voice actors doing their voice lines for movies? They're always doing actions, too.
That's true.
You got to do it. You got to get into it.
You got to commit. I don't know what. Okay. How's it going, Brandon?
It's going.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
Well, what I'm drinking and my nerd thing kind of go hand in hand.
Oh, okay. Do you want to let's do both then?
Yeah. So on Friday,
Yep.
we went to a junior hockey game.
Yeah.
And we do that here and there, but this was a special one because it featured on the opposing team the presumed number one NHL draft pick next year.
With very obviously.
Very obvious.
Yeah.
So that was exciting, and then I drank too much beer.
Yeah.
So I'm still a little groggy, and I'm drinking just black coffee.
Two birds, one stone with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I am also drinking black coffee. Okay, the hockey game was my nerd thing. My new semester started at school, and I've been, doing teachery things. It's not, like, incredibly exciting stuff, but it's always very busy that time of year, and, all new students and doing a bunch of stuff.
Ugh.
Spending money, organizing stuff, all the things.
Sounds rough.
No, the dog's right over there.
Oh.
Boo. Okay. Brandon, we have Mandalorian coming soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Ish.
So, well, March 1st. That's like in a few weeks.
No. We have Ant-Man coming before that, though.
I was going to get there. So, Ant-Man, we have now TV spots and things like that. And what are you thinking?
I don't know. It looks like it's Ant-Man's the nice, fun comedy series, right?
Yeah, something like that.
No, it's interesting. It's gonna be pretty big because obviously Kang is the primary villain in this
For the next 2 phases.
But they're setting him up as the new Thanos. So
yeah, I'm worried.
And Kang proper, because of course.
Well, yes, he who remains.
He was featured in Loki, but
not
that wasn't like Kang proper.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm curious. I'm excited to watch it, and I'm very nervous.
I hope it's good.
Me too.
And speaking of Marvel, Black Panther came on Disney Plus.
Right.
February 1st. And I just realized this morning, thinking about it, it's because it was the start of Black History Month.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's why they did it that way.
February 1st. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh. Speaking of Disney Plus and such things, what are we talking about this week, Brandon?
What are we talking about this week, Krysta?
Andor.
Yeah.
Finally,
That's
month later.
Yes, well, we've been teasing it, and now it's here. That's why I was so dramatic, you see.
Oh,
because
yes.
Andor's very dramatic.
Very dramatic. Before we get to that, though, let's go to the news. Disney A News Update. Okay, so big news is that the 100th celebrations have officially started. They have commenced. So we've got the characters are all in their outfits, and there's lots of like foods and treats and stuff like that. Big thing though, Disney's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is now open. Reviews are good. Busy. Everything's very busy, of course.
Well, that ride is busy, but the crowds don't seem to be that big.
I was meaning for Mickey and Minnie's. Yeah.
Well, a new ride, it's always gonna...
Of course.
Always gonna be the case, but I think that'll level out probably about the same speed as, like, Spider-Man did.
Yeah, probably. I think Spider-Man will be a good comparison.
It'll probably stay maybe a little higher level longer than Spider-Man, though, because it is, like, a good family-friendly Mickey Mouse ride, and, you know.
Yeah, I think it's less interactive, but I don't know, Spider-Man was pretty busy when we were there still. Okay, other news at Disneyland. You know how the Hyperion has just been sitting there empty?
Yeah.
A casting call went out, and the casting call has people interested anyway.
So when you do a casting call, you have to give some specifics about what you're looking to cast, obviously, and so people, of course, are using that to speculate what show they're going to put on, and
widely speculated, I think, is wrong, by the way.
Yeah, I think so too.
So just briefly, I don't have the casting call in front of me, but the primary was actually three female identifying characters. I think it's between the ages of 30 and 50 to act as who are very peppy and to act as a Greek chorus. And that made people just freak out and not read anything else. Right. The next principal is a woman between, I think it's 20 and 30.
Something like that, yeah.
But with a very strong English accent. That's interesting. Then the third, who is the male lead, is younger between, I think it was 17 and 21 or 17 and 20, something like that. And then so on.
Very young adults.
Yeah, and then a couple other secondary roles that were like male identifying.
You said off the top, like the Greek chorus, everyone's thinking Hercules.
Right away, that was the first thing. That's not what that means.
I mean, musical theater, like that's a pretty common trope to have a Greek chorus being the narrator kind of thing. So it could be literally anything.
I mean, it could be Hercules, but they'd have to be messing with it a fair bit.
Especially the British accent.
Yes, and
female lead.
She may have been slightly older than Hercules, as far as the 17 to 20, and then the 20 to 30, but not really. And the British accent thing doesn't make sense. And there were 5 Greek muses, not 3 in the movie. Mm-hmm. So even people leaning onto Greek chorus, like that's not entirely correct. But no, Greek chorus is a trope in theater in general, but like musical theater is a very common thing. And then another large number of people, because people really wanted something like Rogers the Musical after that came out in Hawkeye. So that's another way people are leaning, which actually does make sense with the Agent Carter thing being an appropriate age. And
you'd have it be like the prologue of Steve Rogers and and have it with Agent Carter. I don't know about that either. I would love to see them develop some sort of Marvel musical show, because the Hyperion's right on the edge of Avengers Campus, and it's like the transition between Hollywood Land and
totally
and Avengers Campus. So it would make sense. But I
don't think we're getting
either.
Rogers the Musical.
No.
I think if we were getting something, it would be an Agent Carter kind of focus thing. And part of the reason we're saying that is one of the writers who has signed on did write an episode or part of an episode or something like that.
I think he did the one shot, the original Agent Carter one shot where she has that big fight scene set to music.
That's cool.
I think is what it was.
Okay, but it had a music tie though.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Agent Carter. So that has other people going, ooh, maybe that's a thing. Or maybe something completely different we haven't heard of yet. When you first said British, I was like, Mary Poppins. But it said brand new. So that's why I'm like, oh, maybe not.
Mary Poppins Jr.
Maybe. So anyway, that has people all excited. Earl of Sandwich has reopened again, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, in downtown Disney.
That took over the bakery that suddenly closed.
La Brea, yeah.
And that was weird, but
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, you know how there was a fire we talked about a little while ago at the New Orleans train station? Things are looking good. Things are better. The other really big thing that's going on at Disneyland, like we're going to talk about the 100th here in a couple weeks, but there's so much construction and Adventureland is weird right now. Like you can't get through most of it.
It's a dead end.
Yeah, and there's like these little pathways. Anyway, it's bizarre. I actually think it'd be kind of cool to see. It would be maybe a little disappointing if that was the only time you had gone there, but
right.
you know. And then the other news that I had actually isn't Marvel or Disney news.
Okay.
And talking DC.
Well, yeah, DC had a big week. They're going under restructuring. But before we get to that, I sent you some news that you completely ignored.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And,
that's true. That's true. Yes, you're right. I did ignore that. I thought about it this morning and then I forgot to say it. Okay.
Yeah. So the Star Wars Vision show that just came out, and they had the 3 episodes focused on Ahsoka and 3 episodes focused on Dooku.
Yes, and I really want to watch that. I haven't seen it yet.
Is coming back for a second season.
Nice.
And they announced like there's going to be a bunch of different animation studios doing it. I don't know if they're like all doing their own style, but the one that interested me was the animation studio that is most well known for Wallace and Gromit and like Chicken Run.
That's crazy.
Is one of them. So I don't know. Like that's like, are we gonna have a Wallace and Gromit
I would
claymation style Star Wars thing? I don't know.
Crazy.
But yeah, they're well underway for that, and it's going to be. There might be some anime.
That's kind of cool.
I don't know. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
That kind of like with What If, they played around with the styles a lot. They're going even further with this one.
Yeah.
That was like testing the waters, right? But now we're going Star Wars.
And it's like this is like a full anthology. They're all just different stories.
Cool.
They released the title of all of them, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's going to be 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Do we have a date on when that's going to come out?
Maybe Visions. Maybe that wasn't the. That was like Jedi Archives or something.
That makes more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think we watched Visions. That one was like fully anime.
Right. That's probably why we didn't.
Yeah. Maybe should, but whatever.
You know what? I have a feeling that before the Ahsoka show comes out, we're going to be like cramming a lot of stuff.
And they also announced the streaming start date for the series.
Oh, okay.
And you have one guess as to what it is.
Oh, could it possibly be in May sometime?
Yeah, like
right around the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay.
They didn't have anything released for May 4th. They just announced some stuff last year. So
that's true. Yeah, because they were gonna bring out Obi-Wan around then, and it was like a week off or something like that, and we're like, that's so silly.
No, they pushed it to the end of May.
Yeah, but when they first announced it, it was gonna be a week, and then it got pushed.
Yeah.
Okay, May 4th. Well, we've got a couple months. We tied to that though, we do have some Oscar movies to watch.
Oh yeah.
So we will be doing an Oscar episode again because that was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And
we'll also talk, of course, about Disney Oscars and stuff like that. But yes,
pretty thin this year for Disney.
It's true, but a few things we'll mention them when we get a little closer here. Okay, so I know it's not Disney focused, but it has ties with. You know, it always compared to Marvel, obviously, the MCU, is DC. Mm-hmm. And they had some announcements this week.
So if you haven't really been following along, DC's been going... Warner Brothers owns the DC characters, Superman and Batmans and stuff. And they've been going through some corporate restructuring because their movies were bad.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
they have a very similar thing going on with they have their own streaming service because they own HBO as well,
right?
And so HBO Max is a thing, and they need content, but it needs to be good.
And that's the part they've been having trouble with.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is what it is. A bunch of people got fired, and they've hired a new co-CEO, and they're going to have DC Studios, similar to Marvel Studios, which will be its own thing.
Yes.
And James Gunn, who did the Guardians.
Yep, there's our Disney tie-in.
Yeah. He's been hired as their Kevin Feige.
Yes.
Like the creative director of this whole thing that was going to put it together. And he released a video this past week talking about his plans.
Yeah, and there's some plans.
He's got plans. It sounds interesting. They're going to have a new Batman.
Yep.
But they're still making the Robert Pattinson sequel. That's going to be off on its own thing. It's not part of a universe or anything.
Yeah. So what he's basically doing is a big part of what it is that he is doing is like restructuring it because the timelines and the connections are really wonky all over the place. And so he's kind of streamlining things. He's like, this is the universe we're recognizing, and then there's the peripheral stuff, or like it's extra stuff.
Yeah.
So we still got to make those things, but they're not going to have anything to do with our
this is similar to how comics operate. There's different artists doing things, and sometimes you can have 2 different Batman runs going on at the same time. Whatever. So that's fine. The only trouble is they still have 3 movies from the old DCEU that are finished and going to be released.
Right.
You got Shazam.
Yes.
Which was the first Shazam was probably one of the better DCEU movies.
True. That is true.
Whatever. You got another Aquaman movie.
Oh God.
Yeah. And then you have the Flash movie, which.
Oh man. Oh.
Which, from what I hear, sounds really cool because they're doing Flashpoint, and they're going to use that to like kind of reset things.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because Flashpoint was a big thing in the comics where the Flash went so fast that he like reversed time and like changed the entire universe. He like went back in time and saved his mom, but then that like butterfly effect
messed everything.
messes everything up. And in the comics, he like goes back and instead of Bruce Wayne's parents being killed, Bruce is killed in that mugging. And so his dad becomes Batman, and his mom becomes the Joker, and stuff like that. It's really messed up, and like
cool.
It's all messed up. So they're gonna go with that sort of, and see if I don't know
if they can make
how
that
they can
work to
use
reset.
it as like a reboot. But
I mean, it's clever if they can make it work and like make it work with the existing stories.
The only trouble is the guy, well, the person that plays the Flash is constantly in the news doing crazy, weird stuff because they're
crazy and weird. They
have some issues to work through, and they keep causing problems that you don't want someone who's headlining a $1 billion movie.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep that on the rails as long as possible.
Yeah, they're running. I think it's that they're intensifying the crazy, but they're also like time is ticking closer. And
the funniest thing about all of this is at the same time this whole restructuring thing was going on. The Rock was making a power play to kind of take over it, use his star power to fix the DC universe with his Black Adam movie that subsequently flopped really hard. We watched that the other day. It was pretty bad.
It was really disappointing because it had some cool moments and like it could have had good potential, but you need better writers at DC. It all falls apart if that's the case.
The Rock makes fun movies, but he's not really an actor. He just plays The Rock. And in this, he was The Rock with a cape.
Yeah, as opposed to Jungle Cruise when he was The Rock on a boat.
Well, he likes jungle movies because he can wear a khaki shirt and with the buttons undone.
Yeah.
And that's kind of his thing.
Yeah. Whereas this one, there was no jungle.
You can literally find screenshots from like 4 different movies where you cannot tell which movie it's from because
that's great.
They look identical.
That's great. He like brings his own wardrobe.
I don't mind The Rock.
I actually I think
he's fun.
I liked the Jungle Cruise because it was the right kind of shtick, kind of like it totally fit. It was perfect. The same thing like when he does like Jumanji. Like he's perfect in Jumanji. That's awesome.
That's one of the movies.
Yes, of course. But maybe Black Adam.
So anyway, he made this power play, and they were doing the restructuring, and then they had the whole kerfuffle because former Superman Henry Cavill did a cameo in the Black Adam movie, and then was announced as coming back as Superman, and now they're like, no.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah.
The Henry Cavill thing is interesting though, because I thought he was a great Superman. Yeah.
Part of the reboot is they're trying to go younger, I guess.
You're right.
So I don't know. Whatever. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's lots to look forward to. I'm actually glad. I like James Gunn. I'm sad he's not going to be affiliated with the MCU anymore, of course. But, DC movies have had some potential, and most of them have been not good, with a couple exceptions.
Yeah, very few and far between. But DC animated movies have been really good.
Right.
And so there's
hope.
The characters are interesting if you do them well.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing.
They haven't done that.
So I'm looking forward to having one person kind of behind the wheel steering the ship.
Someone with a ability to write.
Yes.
Well.
Exactly.
Because previously they had that creative director that was Zack Snyder. Mm-hmm. He can't write to save his life. No. He's really good at visuals.
Totally, and that's why they were visually stunning.
Yes.
And you could also still fall asleep during it.
Yeah. It was so. We go the other way, and
yeah, totally fine. I'm looking forward to it, and I like having I am because I'm optimistic because the big thing is it's like how do all these things connect, and it was like tenuous at best because of the writing situation.
Yeah.
So now I'm like a little bit more optimistic about it. Okay, that's enough talking about DC. James Gunn will miss you at MCU.
Disney Plus and chill.
We have been talking about this for literally over a month now.
Yeah, Andor ended a while ago, but...
well, and then it was Christmas content, and then we went away, and then it was coming back, and yeah. So anyway, let's still talk about it, because it is one of my favorite Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, so...
One of. WandaVision in Marvel still wins, but...
It's interesting. So Star Wars, despite all the very intense fans and stuff, people get real upset about Star Wars.
When you
things.
talk about toxic fandom, Star Wars fans are pretty high on that list.
Right up there.
Yeah.
In the end, it's mostly for kids, like the style and tone, like it's 4-quadrant, like anybody can enjoy it, but like
the target audience,
it's a good story for kids. It's good and evil, very simple to follow, and that's why it was so successful originally, and that's why the 40 to 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds now
buying their lightsabers,
got obsessed with it when they were watched it as kids.
Yeah,
I watched it as a kid and like it now, and that's why your prequel trilogy, the kids that grew up watching that love those. And like the Clone Wars helped, of course, too. Of course, but
the
like,
Clone Wars did make me like the prequels.
Those have been redeemed in the minds of the internet a little bit because the people that are posting on the internet were kids when that was
right, and so it's
around.
tied up in memories and nostalgia.
This Andor not for kids.
No.
It's tonally more similar to like prestige HBO television. Like they don't have nudity and gore or anything, but like
if your kid's in the room, you don't need to kick them out. They're just not going to get anything.
So
out of it.
I'm like, this is more like Breaking Good.
I like that.
Because Andor at the start of this, he's not a very nice person.
Nope.
Very self-absorbed. Just he's living in a really crappy time period.
He's a survivalist.
Yeah. He cares about the people that he cares about, but really cares about himself, and like what does it matter? Everything's crap, so I'm just gonna do what I can to...
As long as he is okay and his very small select group of loved ones is okay, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
But he does care about that small select group. Yeah. So before we get into like that, let me just give the premise here.
Sure.
So the whole series is going to follow 5 years prior to the events of Rogue One, and that of course leads like literally automatically into A New Hope, like the closing and the opening are the same kind of thing. So the first season, there are 2 seasons. The second one is in production and everything.
Yeah, they greenlit it as 2 seasons. Like they have a set story that they're working towards.
So season 1 is 1 year and season 2 is the next 4. And that is expected to release in late 2024. So season 1 is Cassian turning from that kind of selfish guy you're talking about, basically from thief to full out revolutionary. And you get to see that character arc in there. 12 episodes, the first 3 dropped immediately and then they went weekly. And we tell people, watch the first 3 in succession. And because that's important. It's like one story snippet.
It's basically a movie.
Yeah, basically
just with like food breaks in between. Yeah. I don't know.
So the series begins with Andor as a revolution-averse cynic. Basically, like without giving away details, we see why he is anti people speaking up. It's like keep your head down, don't cause trouble.
Yeah, and like the whole thing is it's this fascist regime, and like what can one person do? What's the point? Like it's not like he loves the Empire or anything like that, obviously.
Right.
But he's like, well, I don't know. I'm just gonna do what I can to make my miserable life the most pleasant as I possibly can.
Right.
Like,
so in the original, like this is based on like Cassian from Rogue One. And in Rogue One, when they were describing Cassian, they described him as a natural leader who manipulates people, adding he is really a perfect kind of spy, warrior, and killer. So yeah, not a kid's movie, really, or kids show. Like you said, it's a movie, so now I'm basically thinking about it that way.
The first episode features prominently the first ever canonical Star Wars brothel.
Yeah, it's true. It happens. Yeah. Like, yeah. Like, oh.
Yeah, it's just a brothel.
What it is. That is 100% what it is. Okay, so after starting with Andor's story in the first 3 episodes, the 4th begins to expand the scope of the series to include the rest of its large ensemble cast, such as Mon Mothma, whose path will cross with Andor's in the 2nd season. What's really cool is seeing Mothma in a new light, and the hope was that would happen after watching the series with key characters and events that would be different or more interesting than fans previously realized. So basically, they're trying to like add dimension to this character.
Right, because you only see her quickly in the like Death Star briefing room and stuff, but it's really like so the focus of course is on Andor and his arc, but you're also seeing you're seeing about the behind the scenes of they're still trying to do political games in this sham political system.
Yeah,
and it's interesting.
It is so interesting, and like that people having conversations where they can't like look at each other because it's all like secret or hide. Like
the acting.
The acting is insane. So they said they wanted to make this relevant to current events, according to the show's creators and stars, focusing on a migrant family, gender politics, disenfranchised groups, and government regimes, basically. Very, very, very cinematic. The acting is insane. Rotten Tomatoes review called it a gritty adventure told from the ground perspective of the Empire's reign. Andor is an exceptionally mature and political entry into the Star Wars mythos and one of the very best yet. Yeah. And it's like a show.
And that's a good point. You don't got Jedi, you don't have big space battles.
No. There was one like ship battle. And that was it.
Yeah, but it wasn't
a huge space battle.
It wasn't a big space battle.
That's what I mean. Like, even that was so small.
But at the same time, you say it's very cinematic because it's the first Star Wars show to use like proper sets and on location filming, more like the Star Wars movies. Mandalorian, of course, has that like weird screen thing that works pretty well and keeps the budget down and lets them do stuff. But it does have a little bit of a different feeling.
I think it fits well with Mandalorian in that tone. But the quality of this is just different, which fits better for this because you don't have those big battles and things like that. It makes more sense. Generally favorable reviews, critically noted, especially for the writing, music, design, cinematography, and especially the performances. And the most praised episode, or most praised section, is the prison arc.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's just the general rundown of what is going on in this show. What's interesting, I don't think I've talked to anyone who doesn't like this show. Not a lightsaber to be found, by the way.
No, not even a sniff of the Force or anything.
Nothing.
Like, it's what you can do with other stories of Star Wars.
I think that's why I love it so much.
You just play around in that universe, and it doesn't all have to be about the Skywalkers all the time. Like,
I think that's what this is proving, because they just have so much trouble getting away from the Skywalkers and people, like the two families, I guess. But it's like, look at all of these people, and especially it's on the ground, and you have some people who don't care about. Basically, it's the start of the revolution. Mm-hmm. It's like the grassroots moving into like the full blown. Do we want to talk about some of the like cool moments with spoilers ahead, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't watched it yet,
what are you doing? It's been weeks.
That's on you.
Andy Serkis, because I mentioned the prison arc scene.
Okay, we'll start with the prison arc. Yeah. So, partway through, Cassian is he like the first half of the show is basically like planning this big heist against the Empire. Mm-hmm. And Cassian kind of gets suckered into doing it because he's on the run and needs money, and he's still being that self-serving guy.
Totally.
But he's a pretty good thief, so he gets recruited to this like rebel mission to go hurt the Empire.
Right.
And he's like, okay, whatever. And that whole thing goes down. That's probably the most visually stunning episode is the culmination of that.
That's episode 3, Reckoning.
Yeah, so the show's kind of split almost in half because you're like building up to that heist. Mm-hmm. Well, it's in thirds almost.
Yeah, like, I'd say thirds for sure.
You build up to the heist. That happens, and so he gets his payout. and he's like, well, screw you guys, I'm going, can't go home because they're still looking for me there, but I'm going to take my money and go to Space Florida.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And just
Literally
take it easy, keep my head down, it's to be fine. But of course the Empire is being the Empire,
right?
And it doesn't matter if you don't do anything, they're still gonna make your life miserable.
Yep.
And he gets arrested for no reason.
Yeah, he's walking past, someone was running or causing a disturbance, and he happened to be walking past, and he like stopped and looked, and they just arrested everyone in the area, including him. And yeah, so he was arrested for this, for being standing there. Seems, yeah.
And so then he goes to a prison camp.
Yep.
Which is very horrible.
Totally horrible. And they're building something. And
you learn all about how the Empire treats people, basically.
Yeah.
And you meet these prisoners and like going all through, it's basically a concentration camp, and they're building the Death Star.
Yeah.
Or pieces of the Death Star. And you have leaders on each floor, and Andy Serkis plays the leader where Andor goes, and is just this really interesting character. And then they have a whole prison break thing, and it's all really cool.
Like, the acting in this show, he's in it, what, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, something like that?
Like 3 episodes.
3 episodes?
Like, he's at the end of the first one where he gets arrested, and then 2 full episodes kind of thing.
We do see him there, that's right.
I think. It's been a while now. So
fair enough. But so the acting in here is crazy, crazy good. And he's like only in it a few episodes, and he's one of them, like just on edge of your seat, basically.
Yeah, and Andy Serkis, he's like the mocap guy. But he can clearly act.
I agree. I was like, this is what you do without a suit on.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, such a talented guy, and now we saw him in this way. Andor's past is he was kind of adopted, sort of, by Merva? I can never say it right. I can never say some of these Star Wars names right. and her partner, and she has like revolutionary thoughts, and even did then, but they were basically like, let's keep our heads down and keep safe and just kind of hide. And then through the course of it, we actually see by the end, we see the all out, like, this is the official start of the revolution. It's less behind the scenes now. There's still the political chess going on, but we have all out, like, fights, and yeah, it's crazy. And I really liked all the Star Wars details. Like, their methods of torturing prisoners are very Star Wars. And, like, it's not a kid's show.
It's not a kid's show, but it's fully Star Wars.
Yeah. Which is so cool.
Yeah.
The lore in there is awesome. Like, I'm just thinking of Merva here is the, like, the road, right? Like, anyway, there's all these, like, cultural ideas and things like that, which are, they took a lot of care with the details in this show.
So, yeah, we have Andor, who has a cool story, and we kind of, like, see him embracing rebellion. And, like, yeah, okay, the struggle actually does matter.
Yeah.
You got Mon Mothma doing the political scheming and
cool.
stuff like that. That's really cool. Then you have another really interesting character, the Imperial officer.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And tied to her is this, like, grunt with ambition.
Yeah.
Basically, your slimiest bootlicker that ever licked a boot. And
he's so interesting, but I want to, like, shower every time I see him because he's just icky.
Yeah. And it is a whole commentary on, like, a police state and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. But seeing, like, an earnest, competent Imperial officer with, like, not mustache twirling evil,
no. He literally believes in what he's doing.
Not him. The Imperial officer.
Yes,
yeah. She's very competent. Deals with the political struggles in her, like, high-end Imperial job.
Yes.
As well, but, like, believes in doing Imperial stuff, but isn't, like, Palpatine evil, right?
Right.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. She just honestly believes that, like, we're
going to keep the galaxy safe by telling everybody what to do because we know better.
Exactly. Like, it's not down with everyone. It's just like, this is how we protect everyone. And it is Yeah, I like it better when they're incompetent. I'll just say that. We also get this like interesting, you were talking about the big heist they do at the beginning. So we get a lot of interesting players in that, and we kind of see the web that Luthen
something like that
is kind of has woven, and that there's all these people who are involved that like we don't even know, like Mon Mothma is involved in it, but so are these people who are helping plan this heist. Luthen is the one who first hires sort of blackmails, I guess, Cassian into joining them. But we also meet people who are like on the opposite side of this Imperial officer, just like so earnestly believing in the theories and ideals of the revolution that like, yeah, it's cool. It's so cool to see all these different characters brought out, and you don't need to spend, 9 movies with them to like get to know them. It's just like there are so many people who are affected by this that aren't force sensitive, even, that are just, they're also affected and they're also affecting.
Yeah, it's grounded figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
And while it's still very Star Wars, you get those real world parallels coming through pretty clearly.
Yeah. And I loved the new worlds we saw in this one. Like, a lot of things are very different.
Yeah, we didn't even go to Tatooine once.
Not exactly. I was
What
like, I'm
the heck?
confused. I don't understand. Let's say something about the Luthen character here, because he's interesting. And then, yeah. Okay, so what did you think about him?
Well,
am I saying it right, Luthen?
yeah. Played by the Elder Skarsgård.
Yes, yes.
From the Thor movies, you might have seen him, but
or Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
yes, that's true. Mm-hmm. He was the Will's dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's stuck on the ship.
Yeah, stuck on the ship. Yeah, really good actor, man.
Man, is he a good actor? And then, I mean, you always know that because just like he flips so easily. He's one of like, hey, it's that guy kind of thing.
Yeah, character actor for sure.
But in this one, oh my goodness.
So he's basically the linchpin in the early rebellion, it seems like, and he's playing all sides and using people as pawns to start this rebellion, and like,
yeah,
he's a chameleon, and the like his acting process to show how he's acting as his undercover, because he runs an antique shop on Coruscant, and they have this scene of him getting into character to be that shop owner, and it's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I just, that was, like episode 2 or something like that, and you're just like, what is happening? Because he pushes a bunch of buttons and like goes into the back of his ship and then puts on a wig and an outfit, and then he's like looking in the mirror and he's like moving his hands differently, and he's like changing his voice, and the way he carries himself is different, and it's just so cool.
There is some theories that he is force sensitive, or
interesting,
a failed Jedi or something.
Like,
but that's like
such
rogue
a
theories,
rogue fan
right?
Theory,
Yeah,
right?
so.
Yeah. He has a scene though. So my 2 favorite scenes in this thing, even though I love the whole show, and Cassian is definitely like, he's one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars now. Kind of was before, quite frankly. Like, I just adore him. But my 2 favorite scenes he's in one of them, but they aren't because of him. The one is an Andy Serkis Prison Break. And then the other one is him and this Luthen character, and it's when he works up to yelling, quite frankly, but he makes it very clear that he is aware he is helping start this revolution, and he's not going to live to see the payoff of it. He's like, they have to set up all of these like situations so that when the match gets lit to the bonfire, basically it all goes up, but he's like, but that's not me. Like, I'm the behind here.
He knows he's not a good person,
yeah,
but in his mind the ends justify the means, which is an interesting parallel, because
yes,
the Imperial officer thinks the same thing,
but on the opposite side.
It's
so good.
It's so layered, and like the acting and the writing make it work.
So good.
Like,
I'm very optimistic for season 2, and I'm just hopeful. Like,
yeah, just
you were not sure about this.
I had no desire to watch a series about a character from Rogue One. You know what happens in Rogue One, and why would we do that? I didn't expect it to be very good.
Well, we kind of talked about.
I was just not excited about it.
I was really excited, but that's mostly just because I loved Rogue One so much, and I love Andor.
I liked Rogue One, but
yeah. Well, it's kind of like when we thinking Marvel here for a minute. When we watched the Black Widow movie that finally came out, we're like, there were no stakes because we know what happens.
Yes.
And you're kind of worried about.
I was expecting it to be a little bit more like that,
but
it wasn't.
No, it's so good.
So
you
there
care
you go.
so much, even though you know what's going to happen. It's kind of like what Luthen says. He knows how this is going to end, but it still justifies it. And yeah, like you said, he believes he's not a good character, but he's like willing to be not a good guy if it means other people get to live good lives.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So cool. Hey, Brandon, which Andor character are you? Let's find out.
Oh, okay.
Also, sorry, the just Mon Mothma does some pretty shady stuff. But I love seeing this like ambiguity, gray, not like whatever, but she struggles with it.
Yeah, I don't know if she throws her husband under the bus, but he doesn't seem like a very nice guy.
No, I'm thinking about when she's the daughter.
Yeah, she's selling her daughter.
Yeah.
Basically for
political gain.
Political gain.
But like to support and she's struggling like a lot, and the daughter's like willing because it's a cultural thing. But
her daughter seems like a piece of work, but that's
yeah,
but
she's
also
like
a piece of work and
12 and anyway, it's interesting though, all this ambiguity and these like really tough decisions where it's that question of the ends and the means. Anyway, she's just the cover on this quiz, so I'm going to say this. What do you believe, Brandon, is your greatest strength? Is it your wit, your penchant for precision, your diplomatic way of speaking, or your poker face?
I like wit.
I knew that one. What would your friends say is your greatest weakness? Loyalty, I'm always tired, relying on my family ties for my own career, or trouble focusing on the next task?
Oh, the focusing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which character from Andor would you want in your kickball team? Oh boy. Clea Markey, Kino Loy, Deidre Miro, or Vel Sartha. I don't know who some of the people are.
These were some of them are like the rebels, and I think that's the Imperial officer.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna go with Deidre. She played dirty.
She did. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Talking about another sketchy.
She'd have like pocket sand and.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What do you like to do for fun? Solve puzzles, try new cuisine, travel, or go to the beach?
Like all of those.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I would like to travel and go to the beach.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Where you can try some new cuisine.
But let's say go to the beach.
Okay.
Yes, and try new cuisine. But yeah, I don't know.
What was your favorite subject in school? History, business, math, or English?
I liked all of those actually.
Yeah, you're good at all of them too.
I guess I did the most in business.
Okay, business.
Business time.
Business. What was your favorite after-school activity? Chess club, debate club, drama club, or robotics club?
I wish there was a robotics club.
Hey, we didn't have any.
I went to calculus club instead. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yes.
Not my favorite though. I probably would say drama club actually.
Oh.
I did.
That's a surprise.
I did do drama club.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not for a long time, but I did it and it was fun. Yeah. Out of those options.
Okay, cool. Most like yeah.
If I had a robotics club, that might have been.
Fair. We didn't have any of them. What is your secret fear? So, just say this on the podcast, okay? Your secret fear.
Very secret.
Yeah, totally secretive. Water, failure, flying, or losing my family?
Failure.
Which Star Wars character is most trustworthy to you? Leia Organa, General Veers, Chewbacca, or Padme Amidala?
Probably Chewbacca.
Aw, the droid.
The droid. Yeah, we didn't even talk about the droid.
Oh, yeah, okay, pause. We're talking about the droid. He's awesome. He's Mira's droid, and he loved her. And he loved Andor.
And Andor's not very nice to him most of the time, but he's just a sweet little droid.
He's just a sweet little derpy droid. And he basically starts the revolution.
So the droid, I would say, is a cross between Wally and Baymax.
That's really good, yeah.
He has a Baymax kind of voice, but he kind of looks like Wally. And,
yeah.
And he's like the same temperament of both of them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Who are like amazing. Pick a color, blue, white, gray, or red.
Blue.
And finally, choose a Star Wars place to visit. Namus, Ferrix, Coruscant, or Jakku?
I would say Coruscant,
That
as
makes
long as
sense.
I had money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Most somebody's not very good.
Ferrex was not very nice.
not very
Jakku
pleasant.
was not very nice.
No.
Although the city before they bomb it looks kind of cool. It's like an
Yeah.
ancient Jedi city. That'd be okay.
Yeah,
but no,
but it
it's-
doesn't
it's-
say that.
Of course, I would seeing an entire planet-wide urban sprawl would be something to see.
And we saw different layers in this one. It was very cool. Coruscant.
Yeah.
I would want to be on the top one.
Naboo would be my top.
Well, that makes sense. Naboo's kind of gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are Cassian Andor.
Hmm.
You're always pushing yourself forward to success, achievements, and career opportunities, but you can never forget the friends and family who helped shape you into the person you are today. Would you still be Cassian Andor among the Rogue One crew? But in Andor, you're Cassian. Would you stay Cassian through all the stuff you have to do to save things?
Sure.
Help things.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't want to be. Don't want.
How about we just and now we're done. Okay.
We'll go to that Florida planet
Yeah.
and not get arrested. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, he's like out getting snacks or something. Okay. Anything else to add about Andor other than it's really awesome?
It's
It's
really
so
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
It's so
I
good.
hope season 2 finishes strong.
Yeah.
And then you can have a Andor into Rogue One into a New Hope viewing party or something.
That'd be really cool. I really like that. That'd be fun. I'll make themed food.
That would take a whole weekend, but
That's okay. That's okay. We've done things like this before. Okay, well, I think that is our show this week. Thank you, El Mule, who's responsible for the theme song you heard at the top of the show. You can find a link to his work at our website, disneya.wixsite.com/podcast, where you can also find a link to our social media accounts. We are currently on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also email us through that same website. You can find Disney A episodes on all of your favorite podcast streaming platforms and your not favorite ones, quite frankly, and on our YouTube channel, Adventures A. If you've rated or reviewed our podcast, thank you, and if you haven't, you probably should. If you know someone who might like listening to us, we would really appreciate it if you would recommend Disney A to them as well. Next episode, Brandon, we're going to talk Valentine's Day. Aww.
It won't be as fun as last year.
Last year's Valentine's Day episode is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
You could probably skip this next one and just listen to that one again.
Aww.
No, we'll come up with something. I don't know. Valentine's-y.
Yeah.
Worst Disney couples or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Like
There's
some
some
really bad
bad
ones.
ones.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna call it. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay, worst Disney couples.
Worst Disney couples. Cool. I like it.
Feeling the sarcastic love today.
Yeah. Well, 2 years ago we did best Disney couples or like whatever, and then last year we did crush-worthy Disney characters. Definitely go listen to it. It's literally one of our favorites. It's so good.
It is funny.
And it was so much fun to do. Yes. Okay. Worst Disney couples. Okay. I like it. So stay tuned for that. And I'm Krysta.
I'm Brandon.
And until the next adventure, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Thanks for listening to Disney A. Very...
Yeah.